Well, hello there. If it's Sunday, we're blitzing and we're talking Packers. And unfortunately for Packers fans, lately it's been about losses. That's what we're doing tonight. I'm Brandon Cruz. Lily Zhao here with me in studio. Tim Van Voren live at Empower Field in Denver for us right now. Well, the starting lineup looks like this. After another slow start, dooms the Packers in Broncos country. The Broncos ride to a 19-17 win. The Bucs get ready for tipping off the regular season. Bobby Portis makes us say what. And unlike the green and gold, Bucky overcomes its offensive woes for a win. And of course, we finish up with our latest high school hotshot.
I don't know what we think we are, but I guess we just supposed to be some miracle second half team, Space Jam, everybody drink the juice or whatever, and just win. And that's not the NFL. You're not doing that. So you had to come on. We got to do whatever we do in the second half, in the first half, and then repeat that again in the second half. And once we do that, we good.
Once they do that, I think that's the key part of what Rasul Douglas was saying right there. Tim Van Voren, you're there. You saw this unfold. You've watched this pattern kind of take place over the last few games. How can they flip that switch, or can they quickly? Because already they have to start looking for the Vikings.
Brandon and Lily, I would throw the question back at you. They had a bye week to play the team with some of the worst statistics in the NFL, and this is what they offered today. Do you see a simple answer?
No, and that to me is where a lot of this really has to start going on the coaching. I mean, yes, the players have to get the plays done. They have to do their jobs effectively. But then you see certain mistakes happen, and you have to wonder, why was that play called? I mean, is it the players not seeing what is out there in front of them, or is it a matter of the coaches calling the wrong plays? I was talking to you about this earlier tonight, Tim, that Matt LaFleur basically said on the last pass by Jordan Love, maybe he shouldn't have called that. So to me, if you have that bye week and you're going into Denver, a team that is not very good at all, had not won at home until today, their defense was among the worst in the league, and you give us that offensively, that to me is a big coaching issue. How is he and how is his staff taking the responsibility on after this one?
It is tricky, Brandon and Lily, because what you bring up there, people anticipated this year Jordan Love wouldn't be audibling at the line, wouldn't be calling off as many plays as maybe Aaron Rodgers did in the past. Well, if he had audibled off or changed off the play call by Matt LaFleur at the end of the game, maybe it's not an interception. That's a forced ball with the defense able to range over and make a nice play on the ball for sure, but there you go. I do think that the idea coming into this season, and we all perpetuated this, it's an evaluation year, you're seeing what you have to get to the next season. I think the Packers have kind of slid into that a little bit. I think a lot of these players are kind of like, well, what are we playing for? Let's see what. I think that's where the lack of urgency is coming from to a degree. I would be honest on that. And I think some of the players now are looking for either veteran leaders in the locker room or this coaching staff to hold these players a little bit more degree of accountability, a higher degree of accountability, because, well, we're young, we're in these close games. As you said, so many of these games have been 4 points or less, and they've been losses. The Packers, this season could really go the wrong way if today is any indicator, and today should have been the opportunity to come with quite an attack if you're Green Bay.
And Tim, you were in the locker room kind of getting a feel from these guys after a deflating loss, their third in a row. Just what was the mentality from them? Are they going to be able to be resilient and figure things out? Or what was really the mentality from these guys after another deflating loss?
I think trying to stay together was definitely a theme. A.J. Dillon spoke eloquently about that. Even the guys who didn't say a lot about it definitely said that's what they think they need to do. Rasul Douglas has become very much a spokesman back there in that defensive backfield, and you heard some of his comments there, and you've heard them throughout the evening. And he basically, I think, is going toward the side of, yes, we need to stay together. The defense let the Broncos drive back down and get a field goal to go ahead today, so we can't point the finger at the offense. But we can't just say, well, here we are and we show up, we're playing football games. We need to do more than that. And I think he was kind of crying for more accountability across the board, whether that comes from the players themselves or the coaches. I don't think we're seeing splintering. I really don't think we're seeing that. But I think there's a desire from some of these players to say, this is just not an acceptable level of play for whatever reason.
Tim, you talk about accountability right there. One of the key plays in this game came late, and the Packers are threatening the Broncos late. They're in Broncos territory, and Elton Jenkins gets a holding call, pulls them way back and out of field goal range, and then that's when we see the interception. Is he owning up to that? I mean, he's a veteran. He understands what's at stake, yet he makes that mistake.
Right, and we did interview Elton after the game. He did answer to, he didn't think he held, but he hadn't seen the video yet. He knows it was a huge mistake at that point in the game. And this Packers team just can't afford one missed field goal. You lose by 2 points. A holding penalty knocks you out of field goal range. Jordan Love missing just the dump off to A.J. Dillon instead of the interception. You're down 2 points. This isn't Las Vegas where you're down 4 and you have to get to the end zone. A little wheel route pass to A.J. Dillon, that's a 15-yard gainer, and Jordan Love never looked that way. So it's this mistake, that mistake, that mistake. Suddenly you're on a 3-game losing streak.
Suddenly you are, right, and you only score 6 points in the last 4 games in the first half. That is not good offensive football for the Packers to get games started. Well, we have reached halftime, and here is a look at the Instapoll question. You can go to it on your screen by scanning this QR code or go to our website, FOX6now.com. Can the Packers turn this season around? It's simple, yes or no. We will be showing your answers throughout this show.
We have a chance to be really, really good, and what we have to do is, it's like an in-game adjustment, right? Everybody always says, well, you have a game plan. You always put things out on the floor like minutes, right? Guys are going to play certain minutes. Well, somebody gets in foul trouble, somebody gets hurt. Got to adjust. And so I think for all of us, that's what we'll do.
Joe Prunty back with the Bucs as an assistant coach, and now everything is for real. The preseason's over, and they tip off the regular season on Thursday night. Lily, you were there at that open scrimmage tonight, or this afternoon. What is the feel? I mean, they know that everybody is looking at them as a favorite to win this title. How are they handling that pressure right now?
Well, I think they're handling it pretty well, right? I mean, you have veterans who have an expectation that the NBA Finals should be in their schedule every single year, but this year more especially with Damian Lillard coming to town. But again, the guys were loose today. Giannis didn't play, Dame didn't play, Cam Payne didn't play, but I think it's more of just load management and getting these guys ready for Thursday when they do play Philly. But they were upbeat. I mean, Giannis was dancing to music. Guys were excited. They were kind of coaching each other up, and they did some scoreboard adjusting there to get Team Mutombo, who's playing Team Prunty, back in it. So guys are just loose. They're ready to go. And I talked to Bobby Portis after the game, and he said, I'm just ready to go. I'm ready for the season to get started because, again, they know the possibilities are there for them offensively. They want to work on things defensively. We saw that at the open scrimmage today in terms of wanting to be more aggressive defensively, but they know the potential is there for this team to be very good and very deep. So, they got one kind of final tune-up per se in before Thursday.
And Tim, when you see this team, you've got Damian Lillard and Giannis and Chris Middleton. They've only played together for 12 minutes. That was Chris Middleton's time on Friday night against Memphis. How long do you think it's going to take for those three to really get comfortable with this new group?
I think it's going to take a while. I was there Friday night for a while, and Middleton, looks great pregame. He's making the shots the way we've seen Chris Middleton make shots, but the offense does look clunky. They're trying to integrate Middleton, who hasn't played in quite a while, obviously, with this group. Damian Lillard still being integrated into that group, and it's a new starter, Malik Beasley, and a new coach. And now you take away the offensive assistant coach, Terry Stotts, so there's a lot of change here right at the outset of the season that the Bucs are going to have to overcome. It is going to take a while, but they also know November and December is not what this season is going to be all about. It's going to be much, much later than that when the stakes are higher.
And Tim, you mentioned Terry Stotts leave, so already a little adversity being faced by this team. How big of a deal was it to the players to lose Terry Stotts as he decided to resign his position of assistant coach, reportedly because he could not get on the same page as head coach Adrian Griffin? Lily.
I think it's certainly a distraction. Go ahead, Lily.
Sure, yeah. I think, when you're talking about a guy who had a connection to Damian Lillard and he's now resigned, and you read reports that there might have been kind of a skirmish at a Bucs shoot-around that happened in front of the entire team that was reported by The Athletic, you have to wonder kind of what the dynamic is. How does a first-year head coach kind of make waves in his first year, but also know that his assistant coach has been a head coach for about a decade, and he's coming in with a big connection to a star player on the team? How do you kind of, deal with that relationship. And unfortunately, it did lead to Stotts resigning. So we'll see if that has any sort of effect. We were talking to Joe Prunty today, the other assistant coach, about if his role changes at all with Terry Stotts leaving. He said not so much. We're still doing what we're going to do, but nothing really changes for us on that front. But unfortunate to lose a guy of Terry Stotts and his caliber of coaching and his connection there to Dame. But we'll see who they do bring in. But hopefully this happened, quote unquote, early enough so it's not a distraction during the regular season.
And Tim, your thoughts? I didn't mean to cut you off earlier.
Oh, no problem at all there, Brandon and Lily. Well, I just don't think an assistant coach is news very often. So when an assistant coach is news, there's a reason for it, and that draws attention to what's certainly an unusual situation. Two sides to every story, of course. The season's going to go on without Terry Stotts. The Bucks are going to be fine, and they're going to have to adjust, and they feel very confident that they can do so. All
right, Lily, they tip off on Thursday against Philadelphia, a team that's got its own adversity, with James Harden most likely not being with them when they come to town. What does that do for this team to get a matchup with the 76ers early, a team that is also looking to make a run in the NBA playoffs?
Yeah, it kind of just says right away, where does this team stand, right? I mean, this is, again, when you're looking at the roster of whether or not James Harden does play or not, they still have a guy named Joel Embiid who's pretty dang good at basketball. So it's how do they kind of rank with a team that really will be in the Eastern Conference discussion so early on in the season? Tim mentioned the offense being kind of clunky. It's what do they look like in game one? Can they get things smoothed out on that end as well? And kind of where do they stand and where do they rank in that first game? I think it's going to be a phenomenal game inside Fiserv Forum. I'm expecting a sellout crowd there just to see Giannis and Dame on the same court together. But playing a high caliber team like the Sixers is going to be a really, really fun test for this team.
I don't think there's been this much excitement for the Bucks in a long time, and there's been a lot of excitement for this team recently. Well, let's change gears now because the Brewers are remembering one of their biggest playoff heroes. Pete Ladd passed away on Friday after a battle with cancer. The former pitcher recorded a save in Game 5 of the 1982 American League Championship Series, sending Milwaukee to its only World Series. He played 6 seasons in the majors from 1979 to 1986, and 4 of those were with the Brewers. Ladd was 67 years old.
I was telling everybody, go home. You feel me? I was like, go home, man. Why y'all still here?
That's a good question.
I mean, give me a little, prep time for a question like that. It's a little cold for butterflies to be out right now.
Okay. Yeah, it just ruined my night.
I know there are just 2 guys on the team with a lot of players, yourself included, but what gets you juiced about that?
Open shots. I think everybody likes shooting open shots.
Yeah, they certainly do like shooting open shots. That was Bobby Portis talking about the excitement there with Giannis and Dame, and the possibilities are endless with this Bucks team, and the possibilities are endless with our FOX6 sports team as well. Tim Van Voren live for us in Denver. Brandon here with me in studio, and the Badgers. Let's talk about Badgers football, right? This was a team that was down 21-7 against Illinois. You're thinking, oh no, the sky is falling. And then an 18-point fourth quarter comeback from Bucky, led by Braden Locke in his first career start at Wisconsin. Tim, I'll go to you first here. When you saw what Braden Locke was able to do, engineering an 18-point fourth quarter comeback as his Badgers team wins, what impressed you most about what he was able to do on the field in the final 15 minutes?
He doesn't look that he's intimidated by this, and his comments during the week when we had the chance to hear from him at the media, I thought he handled himself great. He's a redshirt freshman transfer, and he just seems like, well, this is what I ought to be doing. And obviously he came to Wisconsin, and his younger brother is going to come to Wisconsin, so they feel very comfortable with the situation. But I was impressed by what he did out there on the field, and he stayed composed, and he stayed with it. Maybe it's not the air raid, Lily. Maybe it's the air Rucci. Get the ball to Nolan Rucci there at the end.
Yeah, I like it. And Phil Longo calling some good plays as well. And Brandon, when you're looking at everything that was said and done after this game, the Badgers, when Iowa loses to Minnesota, so now the Badgers control their destiny in the Big Ten West. That's a good thing, but then they have Ohio State coming to town on Saturday.
They do, and that means Braylon Allen has to be used a lot. He was used very well in this game against Illinois. I expect him to get the ball a lot against Ohio State, but they are big underdogs in that home game Saturday night.
Yeah, I was looking at 14-point underdogs. We'll see if Wisconsin can do anything with that. All right, let's check in on our Instapoll question. Remember, you can go directly to that question right now by scanning the QR code on the screen or go to fox6now.com. A simple question here. Can the Packers turn the season around? And a big majority of you guys say no. We'll see if that changes later in the show. Well, the collective college volleyball world had its eyes set on #1 Wisconsin and #2 Nebraska. Both teams 18-0 heading into their first meeting on Saturday. But it was the Cornhuskers who prevailed, winning the 5th set on a challenge net violation. But get this, the two teams will meet again in Madison on November 24th. Bucky hoping for a different result there. The Fox 6 High School Hotshot is next. Keep it here. Welcome back. This young man is the definition of resilience, and on the gridiron, he's discovered his love for football and has turned into one of the more prolific scorers in the state of Wisconsin. Here's this week's Fox 6 High School Hotshot.
Hey everybody, my name is Jaden Gordon. I go to St. Joseph Catholic Academy and I play football. Yeah, so when I was younger, my dad got me into football. He was a coach himself. I started out when I was 9 years old. That's where I found my first love right there, football. The first memory that stands out, it was my first year ever playing football. I was on defense. And then I caught an interception. I ran the wrong way. I ran the wrong way, and then oh, they're screaming. I ran the wrong way. I went back to the other way, got tackled. Yeah, we definitely have a target on our backs. Being ranked one of the highest teams in Division 6, a lot of other teams look at that and just want to bring us down, us going to state. That'll be something we've been talking about all year. Yeah, in our gym we have a big banner across from, on the top, near the top, that says football, St. Joe's football, state runner-up or state champion. I'm the type of player that I go out there and I want to hit somebody, I want to bring the hit, I want to run the rock, I want to do as much as I can. Everybody has a job on their team, and then when they do it at the level that they're doing it and doing it well, and I mean that's the result. I'm involved in track. I do 100 meter, 200 meter, and then previously we did relays. We made it to state the past years. I love running. It just keeps my speed to where it needs to be. So I feel like when you get your first one of the game, you're zoned out. It's just like you see the field in front of you and you just keep running, keep running, keep running. I feel like it's more kind of zoned out, but you also feel it's like kind of slows down a bit. This J right here is more than just what it is. It's more than just a gold J. It's family, it's love, it's a brotherhood. It means more than words can explain, honestly. I just want to say shout out to my dad, shout out to my mom, shout out to my granny. I love everybody, my whole family. I love y'all. I'm Jaden Gordon. I go to St. Joe's Catholic Academy. I'm a senior. I'm captain of the football team. I'm this week's Fox 6 High School Hotshot.
And Jaden is currently working through the recruiting process and hopes to continue playing football at the next level. He's also interested in pursuing a business degree. Meanwhile, the playoffs started off with a bang on Friday. No MPS schools advanced, but Rufus King provides us with the play of the week on punt coverage here. Thomas Vandenberg lays down the big hit. Ball comes loose and Monique Carter scoops it up and scores. And here's a little taste of what we will have for you this Friday in the high school blitz for level 2 of the playoffs. I'll be at our game of the week between Oak Creek and Franklin in Division 1. We'll also be at Menasha and New Berlin West, Arrowhead versus Sussex Hamilton, Bayport versus Marquette, and Cedarburg versus Homestead. And how about this on the racetrack? Former Fox 6 high school hotshot Sam Mayer is within reach of the NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship. The Franklin native took the checkered flag at the Contender Boats 300. This win puts Mayer into the championship four for the final race on November 4th at Phoenix Raceway. A great season for him so far, and a look at the week ahead, that's next.
Or not even to Halloween, and you're not very optimistic about the Packers' future. Many of you don't think they can turn things around, but they're going to try to change your opinion on Sunday when they host the Vikings. We have a noon kickoff and then a special edition of Fox 6 News that we will be streaming on fox6now.com and other places as well. Now, the Badgers volleyball team, they host Minnesota on Sunday. That'll be right here on Fox 6. They're looking to bounce back from a loss.
Yeah, and for the Badgers back on the gridiron here, big game against Ohio State on Saturday. We'll see if they can turn things around and beat the Buckeyes in primetime. And then the Bucks, how about this? They tip off the regular season against the Sixers at home on Thursday at 6:30.
All right, let's get back out to Tim Van Voorn, who's avoided the sprinklers. Tim, what do the Packers have to do to avoid getting wet themselves on Sunday?
Narrowly avoided the sprinklers, by the way, and the Packers have narrowly put things together. I mean, I think that don't you have to come up with some real aggressive, something real dynamic against Minnesota? I think so. And the Bears won today, so don't look now. Here they come.
All right, we'll see what happens. Tim Van Voorn in Denver. For Lily Zhao, I'm Brandon Cruz. Have a great week.